Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another Red Pill Religion podcast. Red Pill Religion, where belief in the supernatural and transcendent is held to be normal, healthy, rational, and evidence-based. So please support our work on redpillreligion.com. Please tell your friends or enemies about us. Please find us on redpillreligion.com, where we post regularly these videos and the occasional other articles, and we do take donations through PayPal, Bitcoin, Maker Support. Thinking about going back to Patreon, not sure. Find us on Maker Support at Red Pill Religion. Find us on Gab at Red Pill Religion. And once again, give us a like and a subscribe here on YouTube. So tonight we're doing something we've traditionally done on Red Pill Religion for some time. We're not sure what else we want to do, and it feels like time to nerd out and do some nerd stuff. So there will be no serious philosophical or religious or flame war material tonight. Instead, we're just going to be talking about, actually, White Engine, by the way, I'll introduce him, but White Engine wanted to do Fallout tonight. So how you doing, White Engine? Don't play that too long or we'll get copyright flag.
Huh?
You can't play more than 7 seconds of anything like that, or if YouTube catches it, they'll chop us for copyright violation. It's sick.
Of course.
It's sick. I love the music from Fallout 3 and from Fallout New Vegas. So I know exactly what you're saying there, what you're playing there. So okay. So also joining us is Mr. Brass, our deist friend. Say hi, Mr. Brass.
Nice to see you all.
Good to see you, Mr. Brass. Also, our new friend Derek, who's an atheist. Say hi, everybody, atheist. Atheist Derek.
Fag atheist. Hey,
Oh,
y'all.
that too. And finally, Mr. Albino, a new friend. Say hello, Mr. Albino. Or Albino, what is it again? Albino Snowman? Okay, we seem to have lost you there, Albino, but that's all right. We're just here to talk about video games anyway. So, Fallout has been my very favorite game franchise, probably of all time. It's neck and neck because I have great memories of playing Zelda with my kid because I was a cool dad back in the 90s and I played with Zelda to death with my older son. And so I have great memories of that, although the memories are of playing it with my son, not as much the game. So I still love playing Zelda when it comes out, but like when the last Zelda title came out, it was the most gorgeous thing I'd ever seen, but I didn't feel the need to obsessively explore and complete every series of the game. I played it through, I watched my son play it, and I enjoyed it. On the other hand, Fallout, I cannot get enough of. It's always dangerous when a new Fallout game comes out because I may just be doing nothing with my spare time for extended periods playing with it. So, and actually during some very dark periods of my life when I really couldn't, I was pretty functionally homeless and desperately searching online for work and not able to find anything. And Fallout helped keep me sane, actually. So. That was years ago, but I always remember that. That's why I got so intensely into it, too. Because I was looking for stuff every day, and then I would just come home. I had no other money and nothing else to do, so I would just zone out on Fallout. And then, go back to looking for work and whatever else I had to do. So I came in at Fallout 3. So I know all the purists are like Fallout 1 or 2 are it, and I have not dived into those yet. I hope to one day, but Fallout 3...
I missed out on the first two when they came out. I was busy with Spyro, Crash, and Tekken, Metal Gear Solid, and all that.
Right, and I was playing like Smash Brothers and Zelda because that's what my kid was playing. So I missed that part of the. Plus, we were a PS2 family, so we had like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that, which I still love those games. I don't know why anybody wouldn't. In fact, I was just playing Street Fighter. I was just playing the latest Street Fighter with my younger son. So anyway, Fallout. Who else has played Fallout? Which versions have you played? Somebody just jump in.
I played.
have.
I played 3 and 4. I watched the first 2 on YouTube. The little
You didn't do New Vegas?
Uh,
2, but I played 3 and 4.
Didn't
I
play
never
New
got
Vegas?
around to playing it, although I did watch playthroughs of it
Wait a
because
minute.
I watch YouTubers that
Wait a minute.
play through it.
You never played Fallout at all?
Nah,
Ah, dude, this is for Fallout players. Okay, whatever.
I
Derek, have you actually played the game?
haven't played the game, but I've watched
I have
playthroughs
played
of the game.
2 through 4 in Vegas.
I'm sorry, what, Derek?
I have played 2 through 4, including New Vegas.
Okay, so so you've also played 2. Did you play them sequentially, or did you go backwards?
I started out at 3, then I did New Vegas, and 4. Then my friend, 4 in New Vegas. 4 and 2, my friend had on his PC, so I got.
Okay, who's making the noise there? Please mute yourself, guys, if you're going to be making noise and not talking. Thanks. I'm sorry, Derek. What?
I started out with 3 in New Vegas, and my friend had 4 and 2. I could not run, and he let me use his Steam account for 2 on my computer, but I could not run 4 on my computer, so he let me play his. He let me play 4 on his PC.
Nice. And then you played 2 finally after that, so you didn't play them in order. What's your verdict on the series? What do you think is the best of the series?
I'm gonna have to go with New Vegas. I mean, 3 in New Vegas were exceptionally clunky. 4 is streamlined, but it's missing so much from the other games.
Yeah.
2, I really suck at because I'm not the best at top down. But New Vegas, I love because it added in the aim down sight features instead of the classic aim like the gun. You're holding the gun close to your head, Counter-Strike style.
New Vegas is also easily. I mean, I will actually sing the praises of Fallout 3 sometime, because I think it's underrated by some fans. I think that once you add in on what they did with the DLCs, Fallout 3 is a better story than people think it is. But that said, Fallout New Vegas is hands down the best storytelling, the most complex and interesting stories. I think the main difference between them is that the Fallout 3 storytelling experience is more personal.
I would say that goes to 4.
Well, I'll argue with you about 4 in a minute, but let me just see. Between 3 and 4, the story is a lot more personal and heartfelt. You know, like you get an emotional attachment to what's going on. And Fallout 4, you get less of an emotional attachment and more of a meditation on like human nature and politics and that sort of thing. So they're very different types of stories. Fallout New Vegas is much less personal, but it's more political, intrigue, drama. It's got good tales of loss and redemption too, which is sorely missing in a lot of fiction these days. But you were saying to say something about Fallout 4?
Yeah, I found the story particularly engaging.
Did you really? Because that was what I hated most about it.
It is when you play as. It's more engaging when you play as a woman.
How so?
Like there's nothing more fierce than a mother's love for her child, and she's looking for him throughout the game, and
okay, so here's my complaint.
all these unexpected twists and turns you'll never expect.
I actually am a father, you see, and I found the game story like bizarre and jolting, because there's absolutely no urgency put on you whatsoever to go get that kid, and things are put in your way to intentionally give you distractions. Whereas in reality, if this were a real world, like intact, functional family, a father would just like be making a beeline. The story should have been doing things to like urge you on to find your son. And it's like, yeah, you got to go rescue Sean after I build a town and set up a trade network and clean up crime over in this city and go on this and that other. I mean, that's what I hate about Fallout 4 is the story, because to me it's very sterile and not real believable. It doesn't feel emotionally connected to me.
I
So
also
I
have
find
another
it
question.
interesting.
How not? How not?
What? How not?
Yeah.
I don't. How not? What? Emotionally gripping? Well, I didn't feel like that I even cared when I met my son. Really. I didn't find any emotional impact to the scene. I didn't feel any emotional impact really when father dies. I'm like, I wasn't pulled into that either. I felt no emotional attachment to anything that was going on when I was playing it. I'm not the only one who felt that way, so I'm interested that you were pulled in by it. I mean, everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
You were pulled in by it. You found it real engaging, huh? I'm not
Well,
doubting you.
it's also unique in that it starts on the day the bombs dropped, and then you wake up a couple hundred years later to see how everything's changed.
But the other problem is that um, you're really a lot more channeled. I mean, most of the quest lines in Fallout 4 are a lot more narrow, in my opinion. Like you can almost button mash through a lot of them. You had a lot more grit and a lot more detail in the dialogue choices in New Vegas and in Fallout 3. That's how I felt about it. But I'll tell you what I do love about Fallout 4. Have you been has any of you explored the mod community yet?
Nope.
Big time. Big time. I am modding the crap out of the game.
There's this huge.
Hey, wait a minute. Who's the radio coming from? Is that you, Engine?
No.
Okay, somebody is. Derek, who's counting in Spanish?
Not me. I think
There you go. Is Prester Brass. Okay, I got him muted out now. Thank you. I'm sorry, everybody. So Derek, who said they were playing with the mod? Who said they were into mods?
Albino.
Albino, cool. What are some of your favorite modders? And more important, are there any channels that we can flash? Like my favorite modder, I don't play with mods that much. I did for a while. All right, come on, guys. You got to start muting yourself. Where is this noise coming from? I'm gonna unmute people one at a time, if I can. Now, how do I unmute people? Bang. Well, it doesn't let me. It doesn't let me unmute people. Can you unmute yourselves?
Yeah, I can.
yes.
Okay. I'm just going to start muting everybody when they're done talking because we're getting just a really unacceptable amount of noise this time from everybody. Okay. With that distraction out of the way, where were we? We were talking about mods.
Yes, sir.
My favorite YouTuber who talks about mods is Disco Gnome. I like Disco Gnome. Have any of you guys ever checked him out?
Now, I usually follow Juicehead or War Daddy or Hitman 47.
I like Disco Gnome just because he's a smaller one and I don't know. I think he's an older guy like me. He's got a Boston working class accent. He's funny. He's sarcastic. And he's always got something good going on. Oh, plus he's got Marcy fights. I like Marcy fights. This kind of helps show, I think, where are they? Marcy fights, yeah. They've got this whole Wasteland workshop and this whole modding community, and you can do things like set up arenas and make characters fight. So, there's this character Marcy that's there in Sanctuary that everybody hates her because she's terrible. He just sets up fights with her and various people so that everybody can watch Marcy get beat up. That's Marcy fights. But anyway, who are the ones you like?
I'm a big fan of Juicehead. He showcases a ton of mods, and he also does call outs for War Daddy and Hitman.
Are you saying Jews? How do you spell that?
Juice.
Turn up your volume.
Like orange juice. Juice.
Yeah,
Then head.
Juice Head.
He's a
Oh, I
mod.
see. Okay. Oh, he's a big guy too. Yeah, he got more than 200,000 subscribers. Excellent.
Yeah, he's pretty funny about it.
If I may,
Go ahead.
one person I recommend
Whose chair
highly
is
is
screeching?
that's mine. I just moved it. Sorry, it's kind of an old junker, but I'll.
Please stop moving. Please try to stop moving. Go ahead.
It's Oxhorn. If you've ever heard of him, he does a lot of
Oh yeah.
lore stuff. But I really been digging on him, especially with his mod recommendations. Because personally, when I mod my game, I go into a lot of the more lore, in-depth, immersion kind of stuff. And I do the same thing with Skyrim, but I like the survival kind of stuff. So I watch a lot of what he says in his mod picks, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff.
I like Oxhorn. He's another one I was going to mention. You know what? He's for the person who just likes watching the game and likes talking about the game. Because he's fun and he's funny. He'll be going through a scary DLC mod and he'll be getting scared. It's funny. I think only a few times have I ever really been scared in a Fallout game, but one of them was New Vegas, the one where you go to the Sierra Madre casino. It's called Dead Money, I think. Am I the only one who remembers this?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I went into it as level 5. Don't go into it as level 5.
Oh man, Fallout. This is part of Fallout. Yeah, it was part of New Vegas Dead Money. This was a brilliant DLC. I mean, in fact, I think Dead Money was so good as a DLC that had they charged like $30 for it and released it as a standalone game, people might have liked it, or maybe $20. I mean, it's such a brilliant DLC. The story is this is before the war. There was this. It was sort of like the New Vegas story, in that some rich people were putting together a big place called the Sierra Madre, and it was going to be one of the biggest and best tourist attractions for rich people in the history of ever. And after the war, it's it's kind of like it's mysterious where it is. You have to go and find it and get there a special way. It's left sort of obscure, but basically, it's like it's almost like you're in an underground cavern, but a giant one. And you're running through these places, and there's this deadly gas fog everywhere that will kill you. No matter how high a level you are, the monsters you encounter will hurt you, and are genuinely spooky and creepy. I forget what they're called.
Ghosts.
Yeah, they're called ghosts, but they're badass and they're scary actually. And the stories are like really gripping too. I mean, and it's like a science fiction ghost story, and it's done very, very well. You leave that place, and you find out that the girl everybody was talking about OD'd on her bed, and you leave, and the ghost of her recording of her is playing forever as you leave, because it'll just always be on, and it's such a great little story. That's the stuff that I loved about Fallout New Vegas. Even though every one of those DLCs had a really interesting story, if you took the time to slow down and follow the story, if you just weren't grinding it, the stories are amazing in Fallout New Vegas. They're just amazing. Best writing I've ever seen in a video game, bar none.
I've always liked the models in Fallout.
I would have to disagree with you there.
Okay. Well, have you
That was
played
good.
it? Well, but Have you played it? I mean, you didn't even
Oh,
remember
I thought you were saying best writing in any video game, hands down.
that I've ever seen. That I've ever seen. So
That would go to Metal Gear or Assassin's Creed.
oh, a lot of
Oh,
people
Metal Gear is
really
very
did.
good on that story.
Yeah, a
It's
lot
one
of
of the best
people are fans
storytelling
of
games
that.
ever.
Metal Gear series really is pretty strong on the story. I'll grant you. It's not the kind of story that draws me in as much.
Weirdly,
Go ahead,
for me
Derek.
on best story, I would have to go to Black Ops 2. I mean, it's like the only Call of Duty game that's actually made me cry like crazy at how messed up and how disturbing the entire story is.
I can't dispute you. And actually, I think one of the very best that would, I mean, the story in these, most of the Zelda storytelling is very good, but it's a very different kind of storytelling, right? I mean, I guess you got to kind of categorize the storytelling. I just found the gritty storytelling in New Vegas very deep and very complicated and very
Like
multi-layered.
the Caesar's Legion and the Great Khans.
See, I found that least interesting of all because there's lots of little stories all over New Vegas that are very, very interesting in their own right. And they're often very deep, and the companion tales are very deep, and so the overarching story is. That's all if you're into politics. But even there, no, I'll even defend it. They at least made Caesar somebody you could understand. They made Mr. House somebody you could understand. They made the California Republic somebody you could understand.
Kind of
Uh,
like I forgot what I was gonna say.
yeah, even the Brotherhood you could understand. They were all interesting in their own right.
Oh yeah, New Vegas is kind of like a post-apocalyptic western.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually find the main storyline kind of the least interesting because it's basically political. But and if you're not into politics, it's not that interesting. But all the side quests, all the stories, all the character stories, all the random encounters, they're all deep writing. Almost all of them have interesting stories with twists you don't see coming or expect all the time. I've never seen a video game do it that well. Fallout 4 does not do it that well. Fallout 4 is much more linear. But I guess you got to be looking for that kind of storytelling, right? That's what I want in a story. I want it to be really deep and, lots of character development and, that sort of thing. I contend it's the spiritual element that does a lot of them in. I really think the way they took spirituality, especially out of Fallout New Vegas, it just, uh, but that's another topic. I'm just rambling.
Kind of get
I don't,
what
I don't
you're
really know how to lay out Fallout 4 story without spoiling it.
Well, just go ahead and spoil it, man. The game's been out for 2 years at least now, I think. At this point, just say spoiler alert. Everybody knows.
Okay.
You destroy
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. You wind up destroying the institution or destroying the Brotherhood or, I mean.
Oh, not that far. Anyway, you go looking for your son. You find out that he's further in the story you find out he's more older than you expected, and then you're like, how the hell did this happen? And you go after
If that were that was my complaint about it right there. If they were doing that real, that would have been a crushing, heartbreaking moment for any father. It really would have been. And they played it off like a nothing. My son's really an old man. I don't even know him.
No,
Anyway.
I'm talking about when he was a kid. When you saw him when he was a kid, like something's wrong here. And then then when you find out he's actually the leader of the guys you're after, then that's sort of that's kind of it was shocking.
Captain Z mentions another of my favorites in terms of story. I had forgotten, but what a fantastic storytelling series. BioShock. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah,
That is such brilliant writing from start to finish.
and Bioshock Infinite especially.
See,
Will
now
you
there's the thing.
kindly?
Huh? Oh, will you kindly? Yeah, oh, yeah, will you kindly? Oh, man, BioShock, yeah, man, and BioShock 1 and BioShock 2 were my favorites. I was not drawn in by BioShock Infinite, interestingly enough. I sense we have different tastes in storytelling, Engine, which is fine. You're going to have
What?
I was
You don't
not.
like Bioshock Infinite?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just didn't. It did not draw me in. It did not fascinate me. It did not intrigue me the way BioShock.
That game is deep on so many levels.
Well, I could be. Yeah. It didn't do much for me. It didn't do much for me. I actually, you know what? I found its exploration of the religious element off-putting.
Well, yeah, it kind of was, but they also included the forgiveness aspect of it and the Christian themes. Don't make it entirely like atheist edgy.
Well, I mean, they had been. I'm just so sick of poor and unintelligent portrayal of Christians, of the most fringy type Christians. And so I really did find that off-putting.
And there's only like one vague mention. There's only one mention of Jesus at the beginning, and that's it. They hardly ever talk about him. Like, it's not even Christianity. They worship the founding fathers, for God's sake.
It's a cult. The entire story is about dealing with an actual cult itself.
Oh, I know.
Not exactly
And multiple universes, which is why they call it infinite.
I know, except that there are so few games I run into that handle religion anything other than clumsily. I mean, I've been told the new one that's come out that's pretty good, and I've heard Assassin's Creed seemed to have handled it okay. I'm just sick of the trope of religious people is dangerous. I really, really am. It's getting old.
Kingdom Come's a really good one. They really portray if I don't know if you mentioned that earlier, and forgive me if I'm interrupting again. That's what I've been playing a lot of. Kingdom Come does a really good job with. It takes place in medieval Bohemia, and it does a really good job with showcasing the Catholic Church and kind of out of the way things are. Granted, they have some clumsy characters, but that'll come and go with any game, give or take. But they, from what I've seen, they do a pretty good job with getting the mentality of the times, because this is right before the Reformation. It's like in the 1400s or so. So they catch the spirit of the time. Forgive me, I tend to reiterate myself a lot.
No, it's fine. No,
the SJWs had a fit with that, though, that there's hardly any black people in medieval Europe. I'm like, no.
Yes, we're going to have Africans in medieval Bohemia.
No. Believe it or not, they would see them occasionally. They would see them occasionally, but I mean, they would be considered exotic. They might see a traveling merchant or something like that from Africa, depending on where you were, but they would have always been considered exotic and noticeable, and like people would have been curious about the strange person, and the black person would have felt the same way, not because of racism, but because these people are just different. I hate SJWs so much. They poison everything they touch.
Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is homophobic. You have to point it all out.
Shut it, Anita.
I thought you liked Big Red, Max.
Me?
Not you, Max. I thought you liked Big Red.
Patriarchy, fuckface. That's from my camera. I know the guy she was screaming at too. A real sweet guy named Dan Perrins. We were lucky to get that footage. It's on this channel somewhere. You see, and a lot of the footage you've seen of her came off of my camera. Not all.
Oh yeah, and it's same with the anti-theist. Everything is unscientific. Everything is illogical. Everything is irrational, and you have to point it all out.
Yo, I never noticed that, but I'm going to start using that line. Are you anti-science? I'm like, I'm sorry. Are you the science police? Are you the Grand Inquisitor from Science Central?
Another game series that handles religion well is Elder Scrolls.
I'd say it does pretty well. Yeah. All right. I'll grant you. I mean, yeah. Okay. It. Kind of does. It still feels a little comic booky to me because I know something about pagan religions and they're a little deeper than that. But it doesn't handle it that badly. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
It has vampires in it, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
and werewolves.
And
Yeah.
werewolves.
You can even
Yeah,
Yeah, I
become a
figured that would
vampire.
represent Christianity
Basically,
pretty well.
it's impossible to be an atheist in that series because the demons are attention whores and the gods can bestow blessings upon you and you notice it.
Well, granted, the dwarfs chose to reject the gods and they got sent to another dimension, though, or the Dwemer or whatever. But I guess I
Yeah.
don't know if they're technically.
But
Oh, is that what
as the text says, they focus on their gods of logic and reason.
Okay, so the Dwellers were autistic then. Did anybody ever think to ask them, why does logic work anyway? I want to have that conversation with them.
It just kind of does that.
It just kind of does that. We are mysterious. We are mystified by its ways and have no opinions otherwise because we are looking at the gears move, which is every autistic atheist. I swear it is.
Anyway, back on the Fallout. Have you noticed that the newer ones get a lot of backlash from the salty old school guys who still cling on to the outdated Verse 2 games?
Well, I don't want to pick a fight. I actually have an instinctive appreciation for some people who hold on to old versions of games. If nothing else, they're preserving a historic legacy. I mean, some people really hold out for Fallout 1 and 2 as the best of the series, and I'm not going to say no. I have not played them. I know they're not going to be the same. But
I mean, like the newer ones, like 3, New Vegas, and 4 really immerse you into the post-apocalyptic world. Like, you really feel like you're like living out there in a society that's withstood the modern age.
And I'm a neutral on this, but I've read some. I've even seen some good YouTube videos that make a case for no, really, you should appreciate what Fallout 1 and 2 are for their own merits and on their own merits. They're very interesting.
Oh,
They're
the series is unique in that it takes on like what would society be like if it was stuck in the 50s? Like in the Fallout universe, society is stuck in the 50s, and then it's like several decades from now that the end of the world happens, and it all retains the same like culturally and society like it's still 50s, but they advance in the direction that science fiction back then imagined it would go.
Yeah.
Got a diesel punk kind of. I don't know to call it an overtone or an undertone, but it's got a lot of diesel punk influence in it.
Yeah, there's vacuum tubes and helping robots and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, even a bit of atom punk in it too, which I thought it was cool. It's like a marriage between the atom and the diesel punk. Because I mean, it's got the Art Deco kind of buildings. That's one thing I really enjoyed in Fallout 3 was just the fact that you could walk through and see.
Basically, China's the one to destroy us, but we destroy them. We hit them back harder.
Who would have ever thought?
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I got a question for all of us who played Fallout 3. How do you guys usually run? Like, do you guys usually run as neutral good, chaotic good, like D&D type roles? Like,
I am a goody two shoes. I am a goody shoes, two shoes. Probably, I want to say lawful good, but sometimes I'm more chaotic good. I always try. My instinct is to stay at really high good karma at all times. That is my instinct. I mean, I can play other ways, but I'm usually
just myself. But the movies that influenced it
and killing and raping.
Yeah, like a boy and his dog, and yeah, and Mad Max also had influence from it, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was a Boy Scout in my game playthrough, although I had 2 accounts, so I could satisfy my bloodlust when I wasn't feeling too nice that day.
Sometimes there's just something to saying, you know what, I'm just going to see if I can stab everybody in this whole town to death. See what that's like. Everybody
All I know is, all I know is like with games like Grand Theft Auto, I'm like completely chaotic. I just pretty much go after everyone and everything.
It's built for that,
So, well, I mean, there is some challenges where they say, how long can you go without killing someone and being a lawful citizen in Grand Theft Auto? So,
okay.
I have a feeling that's probably how I would be playing Fallout. I would just be completely chaotic.
Like on GTA,
go ahead.
On GTA, the only innocent people I end up killing are those by accident. Like if I accidentally run over them and they get in the way, they literally jump out in front of a car.
See, here's one of the differences. Here's one of the differences I can tell you that is very much the case between, let's say, New Vegas and Fallout 4. In Fallout 4, while of course you can mess things up a bit, but for the most part, the gameplay will work. If you do go on a killing rampage like that, you can still complete the game just fine. There's a few things you'll lose out, but the game will mostly not let you kill critical player characters, and you'll be able to complete most quests. And if you do that stuff in Fallout New Vegas, you will have a very different game experience. Everything will change on you and you'll actually have a more limited experience. Although there is a kill everything playthrough achievement and stuff like that, but the game is much more complicated. You would get very little out of New Vegas if you did that. Just chaotically killing things. You would get very little out of it.
It's kind of like Undertale. I would say that's like Undertale in a way. Where, they kind of make it so you don't want to kill the characters, even though you can.
Yeah, so here, let me show you something. If you go with Fallout 4, the thing that saved it for me was the modding community. Check this out. People can make their own mods, and this one's made like a Pokeball mod. So you get a Pokeball.
Gotta catch them all.
Huh? No,
gotta catch them all.
Yeah, if you watch him, he'll be running around, and he can literally throw a Pokeball and capture somebody, and then he can throw the Pokeball out and release that monster again somewhere else.
That's sweet.
Yep, catch and release Pokeball. This is Disco Gnome playing with it. Come on. There it goes.
They have One Punch Man mod too. Where you can just go around punching everything and sending them flying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he picked up a super mutant out in the wasteland and he just dropped it right in the middle there. It's kind of right in the middle of Diamond City here, super mutant, bang, everybody's going nuts killing them.
I wonder if they have like a Pokemon Go mode where, you just end up just carrying around trying to find Pokemon in the game. And you just eventually get hit by a car because you're not paying attention.
That kind of begs the question. Kind of a little bit off topic, but you remember that you could do cow tipping in Fallout 3 and Fallout, I think you could do it in Vegas. Can you do that?
Almost.
In real life?
And no, well, not in real life. I know you can do it in real life, but can you do that in 4?
I'm positive if you've looked, there's a good chance someone's done a mod for it, or if you find enough people in the modding community, someone will make it. Because seriously, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people making mods, and some good and some bad. Sometimes the weapons mods are just hilarious. Here's one: you get a tire iron, and if you hit somebody with it, I don't know, what is this one?
It looks like a Warhammer from Skyrim.
Yeah, he's just going. Oh no! Okay, yeah, the Drekavac. Okay, now watch what this does. You walk up to people, and you shoot them, and it takes all their clothes off. It takes all their stuff, including their clothes. Oh, yeah. That's it. That's all it does. It just takes all their stuff, including their clothes.
That'd be a useful tool.
Oh, speaking of modded weapons, I remember seeing on Juicehead someone brought the RPG-7 into Fallout 4, and they made it where you can fire nuclear rockets out of it. Like actual, RPG-7 rockets, but with nukes and more powerful than a mini nuke.
What?
This is footage off of Disco Gnome.
That's a bit of an overkill.
By the way,
Oh, wait a minute.
about
Check out this weapon. Check out this weapon. Call it it's a tire iron. It's tire iron, and what it causes is a car to fall on your head and blow off.
Damn.
That's just what it does. You shouldn't be doing it on the inside, though.
Oh my God.
He's gonna hit the girl. No, he's not gonna hit the girl. Come on, Disco Gnome, do something. Go do something, Disco Gnome. There he goes. Okay, go hit somebody, Disco Gnome. Bang. And then a car just drops on him and blows up.
That's awesome.
You can tell it's just a bunch of guys, too. It's just a bunch of guys watch stuff blow up. Yes. Yes, blow more things up.
Michael Bay mode.
Michael Bay mode, yes. Blow things up. Blow things up.
Man, you know that they're making a New Vegas overhaul for Fallout 4 based in California?
Yes, and that's because of the modding community. There's somebody's also attempting to redo Fallout 3 in the Fallout 4 engine, but I think the New Vegas project is much more advanced.
Fallout 3 is little too green, if you know what I mean.
See, now I will defend Fallout 3. I really liked Fallout 3. I was very engaged by the story of Fallout 3.
I'm talking about like when you get in the downtown area, everything's all green.
Oh, yeah, it's a very green game. Well, I actually, I would say that Fallout 3 was a very green game, and Fallout New Vegas was very, 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 very brown. Everything in New Vegas.
And you know,
kind of had a rusty bronze feel to it.
Yeah.
Like I know you must have stumbled onto that area where they found the tree mutant.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I stumbled upon that area by accident, but it looks just like a Crash Bandicoot forest level. Like how do you do something like that in the wasteland?
You know, that's the thing. They can be very clever. These people, they really can. I know nobody wants to talk about Obsidian. I still wish someone would let Obsidian come back and do another game. I know no one will talk about it, but you know, I suspect the fight is actually ideological. I think social justice people are running things at Bethesda, and that's what I think's going on. But that's another discussion.
They ruined Mass Effect. That is my pride and joy.
They ruin everything they touch, man. They really, really do. Hey, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go get something to drink, guys, because I'm.
Who ruins everything they touch?
You guys just keep talking. It's a nerd stream. Talk about everything.
Oh, speaking of how people play on the Fallout series,
turn your volume up.
Speaking on how people play on the Fallout series, I try to my enemies, as in I'll decapitate them, pick up their heads, and run to the friends, chuck it at them before I attack the friends.
On Fallout 3, I couldn't even take that game seriously. You know, you get so good to a point on those games, and when you get to that point, you're just like, everything's a joke. I don't know if you guys wouldn't mind hearing a little glitch story. It's funny. So, you know, Point Lookout in Fallout 3, right?
Do what?
Point Lookout?
No. I never played the expansion.
Yeah. I love Lookout.
That's probably my... No, I like Mothership Zeta too, but I like Point Lookout a lot. The Calvert Mansion, when you go in there and you're fighting the tribals, you got Mr. Calvert, or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name, that ghoul that you meet. And, well, anyway, so we're in the final stand against the tribals that are coming, freaking out about the punga fruit or whatever. And I'm at the top of the stairs. I got a 44 scope Magnum. And I got a tribal coming up the stairs. I got him scoped in VATS twice in the head. And right in front of me is one of the dogs. And the dog happens to jump up as I'm taking the shots to the tribal. The dog gets shot twice. And all of a sudden you see the dog fly
zip ragdoll across to the other side of the room, and at the corner it says Frecky is unconscious. Just stupid stuff. And me and a buddy of mine would always play Call of New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. Ugh, goodness. And the stupid cowboy robot you meet. we we would purposely lead him over to where the Cazadors were, and we watch, and he'd come up to you and he would start talking. Or he chased up to you, and the Cazador would start stinging him, but he wouldn't do anything about it. He'd keep coming, try and talk to you, and the Cazador would sting him, and he would die. He would die, and then we would continue into the game, and we would find the same cowboy robot, Novak, but he'd be laying down, face on the ground, dead, and he was like that for the rest of the game, all because he got killed by a Cazador. It was ridiculous.
Hey, Albino.
Yeah.
You remember the rocket launcher where you can put junk in it and fire junk at people?
Oh, yeah. I love that. I always loaded it up. I'd just go and find teddy bears and shoot them at people.
Right. Or a baseball.
That was always fun. I liked it.
Oh. Speaking of weapons, I actually hate the mini nuke launcher, the Fat Boy, because every time I picked it up and used it for the first time, it doesn't matter how many times I played any of the Fallouts, I explode. Every single time. I don't get why I do it. Every time I just watch my character turn into pieces. I'm like, shit.
You're probably aiming too close. Oh, I've done that too.
No, really?
God, I need to fix that chair. I'll be right back.
Aww. You still here?
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
I'm back.
Wait, is Dean back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Eh,
Let's go. No. I'm just wondering. I'm trying to find one Disco Gnome did of really. Here's a fun Fallout 4 mod. Rip his arm off and beat him with it.
Oh, that sounds fun already.
Never really play with the mods.
See that? So you can just attack somebody and rip their arm off, and then pick it up and use it as a weapon.
That kind of reminds me of like Mortal Kombat, where that's like what Quan Chi can do. Where he just rips your arm off and beat you with it until your head explodes.
Yeah.
Screw Quan Chi.
I hate him too.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I suck
He
at
pretty much just looks like skinny Kratos.
Right.
Mm.
He looks like a meth addict, Kratos.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
cool.
movie
All right,
that
this
came
was
out
the mod
too.
I was looking for. This is like one of the guns, similar to the gun from one of the Lonesome Road one that you get. Basically, you drop nuclear weapons from orbit with this mod. You just point where you want the nuclear bomb to come from orbit, wherever you are in the wasteland. Here it comes.
That
Boom.
reminds me of the Helios, that gun you get in New Vegas where you can call down an orbital strike.
So you just go in and just drop nukes on anything you want. The modding is so much fun too. But no, I should say, not only do they have weapon mods like that, some of which are ridiculous, but some of which are very interesting, and some of them have armor improvements and all kinds of stuff. But they've got whole new XP, like DLCs that you can play through. They've got weather mods. They've got radio station mods. They've got alternate startup mods. You can make Fallout 4 a completely different experience with mods. And any shortcoming in the game you don't like, just about, there'll be a mod that may address it. It's very cool. Check out mods if you ever start to get in a mood to play with Fallout 4 again, because they're all free. You just go into the modding community. If it's on a PC.
Well, unless you're part of the Creation Club.
Well, no, they've also got a separate section for mods, because Creation Club they charge for them. There's a separate on the PC version on Steam. Anyway, you just go in and say, "I want to go get this mod." Most of the mods are free. It's just that if you,
no, I know that, especially
if you add a mod, you can't.
Is it off the mod?
Yeah, yeah. Well, most of the Nexus mods are available that way. I think maybe some aren't. I'm not sure. But oh yeah, there's one. There's somebody wrote a mod where Nora lives. You know how in the beginning of Fallout, your wife dies, or your husband if you play as the wife. There's one called Nora Lives where somebody literally made a whole quest and very cleverly spliced background together, and the game starts and Nora's gone. She's not, her dead body is not there. And then you come out and you find her out in the wasteland, and she tells you about how she got shot, but she found a stim pack and crawled away and made her way to here. And now she's an NPC through the whole game. And she
Is that
plays.
real?
Yes, this is a real mod. This is a real mod you can get.
Oh, mod.
Yes, you have to download it and install it, but then it completely changes the dynamic of the game. Because your dead wife or your dead husband is there, and they piece together the dialogue from other dialogue stuff, so it's pretty seamless. There's even, the whole scene where if you've got her with you when they meet Sean, she has very appropriate reactions and gets all emotional and stuff. They really should win an award for it. Because you're walking around with Nora.
Damn.
Yeah, through the whole game, play through all the way. There's even Nora Lives, for Nora Leaves You. You can piss her off so bad that she'll slap you in the face and basically divorce you. They've really done it well. Loves and hates. Yep. You can make her fall back in love with you. You can make her slap you and leave, depending on your
Do they
dialogue.
have the divorce courts mod?
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Wasteland Divorce Court. Divorce Court. Probably
Feature the main character getting sad because now he has to pay alimony.
Yeah. Alimony negotiations at Laser Point. Super mutant lawyer.
Well, even though it's a Fallout, the SJWs still exist. They're called the mutants.
Oh gosh. I suppose so.
Yeah, you mentioned in
I wound up putting more time into Fallout 4 than any other Fallout franchise title. I mean, like more than 400 over 2 years, which is a lot. But
that nutty ass cult that worships an atom bomb is still prevalent.
again, and I really hate that the Fallout series doesn't handle religion very well at all. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. You may feel like I'm picking on it, but I'm like, they've got it so wrong, because in reality, in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, people would be way more religious, and Christianity would be flourishing everywhere.
Well, Fallout 3 kind of makes a few Bible references here and there, but
it's not so hand-handed,
Yeah, there's atom bomb worship, and then there's those that worship that tree mutant who's like, please kill me now. Will these people stop worshiping me?
That's one of the things I liked in New Vegas, because the dead money thing was a very deep. I mean, it was Mormon, but it was still basically a very, very religious tale done very well, if you followed that story carefully.
They could always, they should have just quoted the Old Testament. That'd be very fitting for this setting.
Yeah. I really, truly contend if Fallout 4, the Fallout franchise actually made sense, Christianity of various stripes would be flourishing everywhere, because that's what tends to happen.
Dean,
or there's a lot of people who there are probably a lot of people who despair and wonder if God really is if there really is a God, if such the end of the world were to come.
There's always people thinking that. What were we going to say, Derek?
Really far back in the conversation, you're talking about some of your gripes with Fallout 4, mainly the story. I have a bit of a different gripe with 4.
Okay.
Okay, you guys know how 3 in New Vegas actually had a
Speak up.
exceptional course?
Speak up.
Sorry. You know how New Vegas and 3 had a very exceptional gore system, especially for a lot of games during that time. Not the best, but pretty exceptional for the most part.
Yeah.
When it comes to detail of the limbs, bodies, you can find eyeballs and pick them up. I did that once somehow. But then my gripe with Fallout 4, when I started playing it and started getting the gore, it was so lackluster. Did not feel as good of a Fallout that way. It just felt meh.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I'm not as big a gore fan, but I admit, yeah, that aspect, it's probably not there. It's not something I look for. In fact, I usually don't even bother to turn on the perk that gives you the extra 5% bonus. For what was it called? The splatter perk. I usually don't even bother turning it off because it's like, I don't like splatter that much. Not that I hate it or anything, but I've just never been into it.
I
So,
like when a game has a good system for that because it feels more engaging and more visceral. That's one of the reasons why I love 3 and 4 to death. They actually felt more realistic in that sense. They actually felt more engaging and more drawing in, immersive in that way.
so are you a VATS user or are you a VATS hater?
Depends on my mode. I actually love VATS when my gun's at very low health. I'll use my VATS.
I'll tell you, VATS is one of my favorite parts of the game. Because I am not the kind of guy. This is partly a function of age. Although I have been playing video games since the '80s, when you pump quarters into the machine. So I have pretty good video game reflexes for a man in his 50s.
Yeah, I've been playing them since the mid '90s.
Well, what it means is that now I'm old, so I have good instincts for a man in his 50s, which means something like VATS is actually a godsend for me, because it's not that I can't play without it. It's just I'd rather concentrate on the story and the action, and I like what VATS does. I even like to flip in and out of VATS, right? Like I want to get my initial aim, so I'll tap the VATS button, and it always and then if you immediately snap out of VATS, you're centered right on the target and can fire from there. So there. I love VATS. It wouldn't be Fallout without VATS to me.
True.
I always liked it in the old games because when I was a kid, I'd always use it, and it would save my butt so many times.
And I think VATS at least preserves a little of the turn-based nature of the Fallout 1 and 2. I'm not going to say it is, but it's a little more real-time strategy-ish when you're picking your targets and making your choices and all that sort of thing. So.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that playing Fallout got you through rough times in your life or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too sharing, but it's rough out there when you've lost your job, lost your family, and our blacklist didn't have trouble getting work, and you search for jobs online, you get part-time jobs where you can find them, and you got nothing and no one. Yeah, Fallout 3 and BioShock both kind of, gave me something to hold on to and stay sane when there was nothing else to do for a pretty dark period of my life, actually.
Yeah, and have you ever noticed like this? Well, I mean, just to get on what you were saying is a little bit off topic, but have you ever noticed like the English language is kind of racist because almost anything that has black in front of it is sort of a bad thing? Blackmail, black market, pretty much everything that's bad and has black in front of it.
Black toil.
Well, that's pure oppression. Well, here's the thing. There are good connotations of the use of black, but more to the point, it was black people who insisted they wanted to be called black. I remember this transition. The polite term used to be colored person or person of color. It was also, I kid you not, NEGRO. I don't want to get censored. I don't. It's the only reason I spelled it out. NEGRO used to be considered the polite term that the black people preferred. And then colored was also a preferred term of the black people until they decided it had to be people of color. But then, it went back and forth with black. African American, they tried for a while. That eventually faded out. But I'm just going to say, The black people told us they wanted to be called black. So that if they think it's a negative, they did it. Change it. Call yourself something else. The beautiful brown people. There you go. The dark brown people that are beautiful. There. That's what we'll call you. The dark brown.
My ex is not brown. I'm telling you,
BBP.
he is black. He is brown.
You know what? Sensible black people find these conversations as stupid as we do. It's these chuckleheads being indoctrinated in the schools, man. It's horrible. It's hideous. They're like pod people taking over the country.
Oh, trust me, I'm on Tumblr. You know how hideous it gets.
Oh yeah,
Well,
pod people, the Vision of the Body Snatchers.
Well, you already know that, the lizard people have already taken over the White House.
Lizard people.
I used to find that ridiculous, but it wouldn't surprise me nowadays.
At this point, I have seen so much, especially from my men's rights activism days and my previous work as a journalist that is mostly blotted from history, where I was exposing some real bad drug company crap. That's part of where some of the reputation smearing of me comes from. I have seen so much evil. It's I cannot. No. If you told me that there really were lizard people, I'd say, well, I'd like to see the evidence, but I'm open-minded. I've seen so much, dude.
Guys,
Aliens? Really?
Careful. You're talking about my bosses here.
Aliens? Okay, really? Can I meet them? Are they Luciferians? Because we know there are such people. Tell me about it.
Aliens.
I really like the last 4 presidents we've had were all completely evil, so I don't, nothing's going to surprise me anymore, man. I've seen, and believe me, fighting feminism is the most weird, surreal thing you'll ever do, man. Those people are nasty.
Feminism is an evil ideology.
It is, and what's so sad is people trapped into it really think sometimes they're doing really good, and it's just so awful and hideous.
An evil ideology is feminism.
Well, it is, because, everything in it is lies. Everything in it is lies.
Third wave feminism is evil.
Yeah, well, I give zero credit to the second wave feminists. I know all about them. They were evil, too.
Gloria Steinem.
Gloria Steinem was quite a monster, actually.
It's as evil as anti-theism.
What about Susan B. Anthony?
My friend Aaron Pitsey.
No, I'm talking about third wave. I'm not talking about when it was needed.
There was never a time in all of history that feminism was ever needed for anything ever.
What about Susan B. Anthony, Max?
Well, the women's suffrage.
What about women's suffrage? The fact of the matter is that was an extended generations-long debate with women on both sides, because a lot of people thought it was a bad idea, and it wasn't because they were oppressed. A lot of women thought it was a bad idea. And there's a growing number of women now who think it's a bad idea. I keep running into them, and not just in more than one place. The idea was always controversial because a lot of women weren't comfortable with the idea either. A lot of women thought women wouldn't be responsible enough. They trusted their husbands over other men's wives, or single women. Some of the most powerful anti-women's vote people were women. They just said it was not appropriate. And so I don't buy the idea that they were oppressed. This was a debate men and women both participated in.
They weren't oppressed. They just didn't have rights, as much rights as men did.
Yes, they did, actually. We can have a whole stream on this if you want. Or go see the movie. See, you can't do that. You can't take one right in isolation and say they didn't have that, therefore that was wrong. Because they had other rights that men didn't have. Women had a certain assumed legal and social status with quite a few benefits that accrued to being female, including in the areas of protection and provisioning. And many women wanted to keep it that way. In the 1960s, the women who most hated the idea of women in the workplace were housewives who did not want their husbands having to compete with the bigger workforce, and did not want to be forced into the workplace themselves. And now
50s. Speaking of Fallout,
Well, the thing is that
the American dream stuck.
we have seen a lot of propaganda making out the 1950s family is bad, when actually it was fairly.
That's not what I heard. It's pretty much the ideal family that everything in that counterculture movement of the 60s fucked everything up.
Yep.
I would
the
actually not agree. Believe it or not, I think the 50s were more functional than people think, because they hear it was so bad and dysfunctional. Because you still hear that, but it wasn't. But it wasn't ideal either. There were problems with it. The government started messing with family structure at the end of World War II in a real weird way, and they broke up extended families into single families, and that's not real good. That's where you will take care of your wife and children in your own house, which may be nowhere near anybody else you're related to. And that's actually making all the guys. Right,
You know what the most ironic thing about the feminist movement is? This one guy said this, that he can go outside right now, have a wig on, and go inside a women's bathroom and get away with it.
It's ridiculous, everything. I mean, it's not going to last much longer. I really predict this insanity will not last much longer. If nothing else, just these social justice leftist ideologues will not be able to survive in the real world. The only question is how much damage do they do before, they get taken out. But anyway, we should be talking about Fallout, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Somehow says the Republic of Dave was my favorite part of Fallout 3. Republic of Dave was funny. And Fallout 3 is full of funny little stories like that. See, that's another one where it really depends on your play style. Fallout is meant to be explored like that.
That one part, that was my favorite, where you get stuck in this black and white simulation and you have to kill all these people. The guy heading it speaks to you through this little girl.
Yes, that's a very good story in the Fallout 3.
That is my favorite.
Can't hear you, Derek.
That's my favorite part of Fallout.
Which part?
And exploring the. Oh, go ahead.
Well, what's your favorite part of Fallout?
That black and white DLC with the little psychopathic.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's not my favorite.
Well, I like it because I got it making someone explode by oven. I don't know. I found that really funny.
Well, the interesting thing about that one, because I've done a little reading and watched some videos on it. There's like dozens of creative ways to complete that. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing it. I've seen playthroughs where they try and show you all the ways you could get it done. So it's almost like everybody's guaranteed a different result. There's no one way of solving it.
There was one Fallout game where you had like the choice of being able to whether to detonate a bomb in this city or not.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I blew up Megaton every single time.
Why? People live there.
Yeah, you're an evil little shit. That's why, right?
People live there. Damn it.
See, I always let Megaton stand. See, I'm normal. I'm just, my normal personality is I want to keep everybody alive. Plus, actually, if you blow up Megaton, you lose a bunch of options.
Yeah, I know. It's worth it.
You just wanted to see the nuclear bomb.
Yep. Let's just say
some people just like to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
I want to set the earth on fire.
Oh man, no kidding. It's such a gorgeous game. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we've been going more than an hour, and we keep getting a lot of noise on the stream, so maybe we ought to just go ahead and wrap it up. Anybody have any final thoughts?
I don't want to set the world on fire. Those were sung by black guys.
Oh, they were, weren't they? That must be negative, right? Yeah.
Well, we're done by the BLM community.
Oh, no kidding. All right, everybody. Well, we got too much chaos here, so thanks everybody for joining us. This is just an informal stream. Tomorrow we're going to have another stream. Andrew and Jean-Baptiste have something planned. And Sunday, I'm hoping is finally going to be UFO Day for real. So we'll talk to see everybody. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and God bless.